Okay, so leads are coming in. You're probably doing some sort of marketing really, really well. Maybe it's social media, maybe you're killing it on Instagram, or maybe you're killing it on LinkedIn. Maybe you're running Facebook ads, or maybe you're just speaking on stages and you have this massive audience. But the bottom line here is leads are opting into your world and they're just kind of showing only interest. So why exactly isn't anyone booking any calls and you're not properly able to monetize off of these leads that are constantly coming in? Well, in this video, I want to show you the missing step between a lead opting into your world and them actually booking a call, an appointment on your calendar. And if you stick around until the end, I want to give you our kind of secret sauce 14-day lead nurture framework that you can use to turn interested leads into actual book calls. By the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Emmanuel. I am the founder and kind of chief talking head of this cool little part of the internet. I also run a consulting firm specifically designed to help service providers grow and scale their business using systems. And listen, after doing this for pretty much going on 2 decades now, I have worked with hundreds of service providers and generated hundreds of thousands of leads at this point. And I know this core problem very, very granularly. Lead comes in, they're not booking a call. Oh my gosh, something is broken. Now, here's what makes this part so frustrating because we know that the leads are there. We know that people are either downloading our lead magnets, opening our emails, they're actually factually showing interest. It's just enough to think, man, this should be working right now. But at the end of the day, when you check your calendar, hey, guess what? There's nothing there. It's zero. There's no bookings, no calls, no little Calendly alerts going off on your phone. The bottom line is it's not turning into more business, more clients. So what happens next? Well, it's easy. I know very well because I've been there. We start questioning everything. Is it the offer? Is it the ads? Is it the funnel? Are these leads just garbage? Are all of these leads just completely unqualified? And quite honestly, this is the part where it gets really, really dangerous. Because from the outsider looking in, it looks like the ads are running, leads are coming in, people are paying attention. But we know behind the scenes, we're still kind of carrying that same pressure over our neck and our shoulders. At least that's where I keep my pressure on my neck and my shoulders. We still have to deal with the bills. We still have to deal with the payroll problems. We still have to take care of our family. There's still a bunch of uncertainty. It is completely and utterly uncomfortable and massively anxiety producing. But here's the harsh reality. Attention isn't the problem because if leads are coming in, you've clearly figured out that part of the puzzle. The problem is that you're currently stuck in this weird friend zone between interested and ready. And that, my friend, is the gap that we need to fix. All right, so quick story to help explain exactly what's going on. Client of mine, Kevin, been working together for a while now. He doesn't have a lead gen problem. He was actually able to get a lot of leads for very cheap. We solved that fairly quickly. The problem is, or the problem that he was facing was he wasn't able to get the leads to actually book an appointment. And after he was literally hitting his head against the wall for many, many weeks, he finally brought it to my attention. And after I did a quick audit of what was going on, it was pretty clear to me exactly where the gap was, what he was missing. And to put it really simply, the way I like to explain it is we are creating deposits into the bank of Goodwill. And what we need to do in order to create a deposit is we need to deliver value. Now, most people think value is, oh, you know what, I'm just going to write an email maybe through ChatGPT or Claude and make it sound really, really nice and make it sound like it actually maybe solves a problem. But at the end of the day, most people can read AI slop and understand it's AI slop. So the true definition of a deposit into the bank or ATM of Goodwill is that we need to give them something actionable that they can do and receive a result within maybe the first 24, 48, or 72 hours. And if we did a good job, then we've clearly made a solid deposit into this ATM, into this bank of Goodwill. And then from there, the playbook is actually really simple. If we continue to make deposits of value over time, we're going to accrue a pretty big balance of goodwill. And so maybe at the end of the month or maybe after a few weeks, the basic playbook is that we want to make a withdrawal. And what does that withdrawal look like? Well, it's simple. It's a call to action to book a call. And what you'll find is if you've made enough deposits, that call to action isn't going to turn into just one book call, but multiple book calls. And this is effectively the strategy that we use for Kevin to fill up his calendar. And this is the strategy that we use for everybody else to fill up their calendar. Now, an easier way for me to help articulate this point is by using this model over here. It's called the bucket model. So this is the way that we, or at least I, interpret turning, in this case, a complete stranger and getting them to inevitably book a call. Now, the reality is, using this bucket model, there's different levels to this bucket. We have to fill up the bucket with just a little bit of water. Now, that first little bit of water is going to be the opt-in. What is that opt-in? Well, it's effectively, in our world, we like using lead magnets, but maybe it's a really good video, a really good hook, a really good checklist, a really good guide. At the end of the day, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to garner attention. And if we can get attention to a core problem that our ideal avatar or customer is facing, then hey, guess what? They're going to opt in. But that's really not enough to fill the bucket or get us from the stranger to the book call. We have to add more water. And what does that additional next level of water look like? Well, it's simple. It's value. And what does value look like? Well, value might come in the form of maybe a video, my really bad picture of a YouTube video, or maybe it's going to come in the form of maybe a framework. But at the end of the day, the point of us delivering this little piece of value, it's simple. We just need to make sure that our ideal prospects or leads understand that we understand their problem. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line here is, if we can articulate the problems of our ideal customers better than they can, well, hey, guess what? It immediately positions us as the authority. But that's still not enough to get us to the inevitable book call. So what else do we got to do to fill this bucket? Well, it's simple. We need to add a little bit more water, and that next little bit of water is going to come in the form of results. All right? And what are results? Well, results are the quick wins that we're able to deliver from our videos and our frameworks. Because at the end of the day, what we're really trying to develop is confidence. Confidence not only in themselves being able to execute on something, but confidence in us giving them enough value that they're able to execute on that thing within that first 24, 48, or 72 hours to help them know, like, oh my gosh, this guy, Emmanuel, he really knows what he's talking about. Or in this case, fill in the blank with your name. But you really know what you're talking about. But as we continue on with this bucket, we're still not able to get all the way to the top of that book to call. So what else is missing? What is that last piece? Well, the last piece is no more than understanding that we need to deliver trust. Now, what does trust look like? Well, trust typically looks like a case study or maybe a story. But the purpose of that case study or that story is that we need to create belief. Because if we can create enough belief and show people or show our prospects that we've already brought people to the promised land, well, hey, guess what? It immediately fills up that bucket of goodwill, or that ATM of goodwill, or that bank of goodwill, whatever analogy you want to use, and gets them ready to book a call. And at that point, it's really simple what the next step is. We simply just need to invite. Because if we can invite them to a call, then guess what? Then and only then will they actually take action and effectively book the call, fill up your calendar, and then voila, hey, guess what? You're going to start turning those leads into actual booked appointments. Hey, real quick, if you found some value in this video so far, really appreciate it if you hit that like button, the subscribe button, the bell icon, all that fun stuff. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much in advance. All right. Now that we clearly understand that there's levels to this, we need to create deposits of goodwill or fill up this bucket of goodwill. We actually have a framework, or I have a framework that I use with every single one of my clients to help extract exactly what is going to be required of you to be able to fill up this bucket. And that's what I'm going to show you on this next sheet here. This cool little worksheet that I like to call the Goodwill Deposit Builder. Now, if you want a copy of this worksheet, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Go ahead, download it. It's completely free, but let me walk you through how I would typically fill this out with one of my clients. Now to start, let's use a hypothetical example. Let's say that we are an accounting firm and we're specifically trying to target, or our niche is home service businesses, all right? So as you can see here, across the left side, we have opt-in, value, results, trust, and then book. The goal here is that we need to fill that bucket. So we're just going to simply fill in the blanks to fill in the bucket. I never usually start with coming up with a lead magnet when we first start talking about opt-in. I always like talking about the problem first. So what is a core problem that maybe a home service business, an HVAC business, a plumbing business, a landscaping business, what's a common problem that they're facing? Well, I know this anecdotally because I work with a lot of accounting firms and fractional CFOs that work with home service businesses. A lot of home service businesses, they have money leakage. And so the idea is that we want to give them some sort of solution when it comes to that money leakage. And what would that look like? Well, it's simple. In our world, a simple lead magnet that gives this home service business a profit checklist that can easily identify like where the leaks in the bucket are happening. And then if that's the case, what do we want them to do? What's the next step after they see this checklist? Well, we want them to download it. Because if they download it, then we've done our job correctly. We've got them to opt into our world. They've likely given us their name, email address, telephone number, and hopefully answered some sort of qualifying question. Now, the next step there is, now that they're in our world, we need to deliver value. And what does value look like? Well, we like to send multiple emails, but the idea is that we need to teach them something. So, well, what can we teach them? Well, easy thing to teach them is how to properly price jobs. So a thing that we can explain inside of this value video or maybe value email might be how margins shrink like quickly, because at the end of the day, many times, often estimates, they're not properly estimated. And so what we can give them is, hey, an explanation. This is why your margin's shrinking, and this is how you do maybe a proper audit of your costing or pricing, so that you know that your stuff won't actually, like you'll remain in profit. You won't continue to reduce profit over time. Moving on to the next layer of this, what is the result? What is the thing that we can help them achieve maybe within the first 24, 48 to 72 hours? Well, it's simple. How about we give them visibility, my really bad picture of an eyeball, on some of their costs and expenses and things like that. Because at the end of the day, if the reality here, the truth is, if we can find waste, find where they're leaking in the bucket, find where they're wasting money, and to be honest with you, that should be a fairly quick and easy thing to do, because most HVAC owners aren't very good at this part of the business. Then getting that quick win within the first 24, 48 to 72 hours should be pretty cut and dry. But the bottom line here is we want to show them where they can maybe cut some expenses. Now let's move on to the next layer of this, trust. How can we show trust? Well, maybe we can do it in the form of a story or maybe a written email, but basically break down a case study where we can hopefully share a story about maybe how we turned around an HVAC business, a plumbing business, a landscaping business, an installation business, a number of different types of home service business. But the idea is, let's show them how we can turn things around and kind of show them like what a real strategy actually looks like. And if we did our job correctly and we've dripped multiple emails on them, providing value, giving them these quick wins, then and only then can we get to this last layer where maybe we say, hey, if you trust me enough, let's invite you to the next step. In our world, that next step is essentially a sales call. We call it a strategy session, but ideally it's the same thing. It's a call where we can hopefully not pitch ourselves, but at the end of the day, maybe discuss a plan for them. Because if we can help them map out a plan, maybe, just maybe, they might be interested in helping or having us fulfill on that plan. So the next clear action is really just to book a call. Now, ideally what happens after this cool little worksheet is filled out, we try to break it down into multiple touches throughout a 14-day period via emails, via videos, so on and so forth. By the way, if you have any interest in exactly what that looks like, then I highly recommend that you check out this video right here.